Welcome back to sweaty Mid-Ohio. Boy, oh boy, am I happy that I wore a black shirt today. But actually, pretty exciting day at the racetrack. If you enjoy IndyCar racing, you are in the right place. Subscribe, go down there, like the video, comment. This is all free. It all helps the channel out. I would appreciate it if you do that. By the way, what is not free, but it's $20, so $20 for a t-shirt now, we might as well be giving it away. If you go to the fan village here at Mid-Ohio, go to Gutswear, get you a t-shirt. It's a good idea. Alex Palou is on the pole position for this race. Please don't click off the video. Don't click off the video for that either. We got Indy Pro 2000, well, they don't call them Indy Pro 2000 anymore. Well, there's race cars on the track, so automatically I'm happy. If you didn't click off the video for that, don't click off the video for Alex Palou either, because I'm going to explain to you why Alex Palou leading the field to green tomorrow doesn't necessarily mean that Alex Palou is just suddenly going to dominate the race and run away. Or at least I'm coping a little bit with that. I don't know. There's a few factors, mainly the tires, but also the 90-lap race that we'll be talking about a little bit later, and some drivers who you might not expect to have an advantage that do have an advantage. So without any further ado, let's take a look at how they're going to line up and take the green flag tomorrow for the Honda Indy 200 here at Mid-Ohio. So starting on the pole, surprise, surprise, it's Alex Palou, and alongside of him is Christian Lundgaard. Arrow McLaren, of course, won this race last year. Now, very interesting row number 2, and a lot of fanboys on Twitter are going to be very happy about this one. I know I am. Kiffin Simpson on the inside and Nolan Siegel on the outside of row number 2. Now, interestingly enough, these two drivers both have a sticker set of reds in the bank. And rounding out today's Fast Six, it's Colton Herta and Louis Foster, the pole sitter at Road America. Colton has won here before and is looking to improve his fortunes this year. As we head to the inside of row number 4, it's Kyle Kirkwood, another driver with a sticker set of reds in the bank. So we'll see if Kyle Kirkwood or Alex Palou can continue their incredible streak this season. Marcus Armstrong is on the outside of him. Scott Dixon had a hybrid issue in qualifying. That put him out of the Fast Six. Christian Rasmussen on the outside, who's been improving throughout this year. Marcus Ericsson on the inside of row number 6. He had a big crash in morning warm-up this morning, but he recovered to be in the Fast 12. Alexander Rossi on the outside. Connor Daly's best road course qualifying effort in a long time sees him 13th on the inside of row number 7. On the outside is David Malukas, who's been having some great success for AJ Foyt Racing. Row number 8 is Pato O'Ward, the defending winner, alongside his good buddy, Felix Rosenquist. And then we've got row number 9, Santino Ferrucci, who's had some great runs recently, and Joseph Newgarden on the outside. Stingray Robb on the inside of row number 10. Graham Rahal, the hometown boy, on the outside. Not a great qualifying effort from Graham. Worse for Team Penske, locking out row number 11, much like the Indianapolis 500, actually. Scott McLaughlin on the inside in P21, and on the outside is Will Power in P22. We'll talk about Penske a little bit later on in this video. Devlin DeFrancesco in 23rd spot. Callum Ilott on the outside of row number 12 in the 24th spot. Jacob Abel and Rinus VeeKay, an all-coin lockout in row number 13, and all alone in row number 14. It's been an up-and-down season for him, Robert Schwartzman. Before we talk about today's race, or, well, tomorrow's race, today's race, whenever you're watching this video, and I appreciate that you're watching it, Kyle decided to cook because he loves this race so much. He decided to make a history segment. And there's no greater historical moment here at Mid-Ohio, in my opinion, or Kyle's opinion, than the only victory for Porsche in IndyCar. It's a really awesome story. They seem to think so too. And I think it's one that you're going to want to learn about if you don't know this Mid-Ohio history.
Porsche entered IndyCar in 1987 with the Holbert Racing Team, which doubled as Porsche Motorsport North America, designing their own chassis designated the 2708, featuring a 2.65-liter turbocharged V8 engine. The Holbert Racing Team struggled to find speed over their limited season in 1987, and Porsche looked to shorten their competitive learning curve going into their first full-time season in 1988 by partnering with a specialized IndyCar constructor. Porsche chose March, who had won the 1986 Indy 500 and CART IndyCar Series Championship, but by 1988 had lost their edge as competitors Lola and Penske dominated the season. Also for 1988, Porsche brought in Italian ace Teo Fabi, who had just spent the last 4 seasons in Formula One, most recently with the Benetton team in 1987, where he would stand on the podium at the Austrian Grand Prix, which would be his first and last time on a Formula One podium. Teo would place 10th in the 1988 championship standings as Porsche's engine made significant improvements, but the March's handling and aerodynamics was no match for their rivals. After a disappointing first season, a veteran team manager was hired to lead the program forward. Scotland's Derek Walker would move to Porsche in the offseason after just capturing the 1988 IndyCar Championship and would lead the lone Porsche team in the wake of Al Holbert's death. Walker's first task would be handling the uncompetitive March. Working directly with March, they developed a chassis specifically for their engine. The March 89P, the P for Porsche, was born. The start to 1989 showed there were still some mechanical gremlins to be ironed out, but after a 30th place result in the Indianapolis 500 after an engine failure 23 laps into the race, Teo Fabi and Porsche went on a tear throughout the summer, capturing a pole at Portland, 2 podiums at Milwaukee and Michigan, and 5 fourth-place finishes on the run leading up to Mid-Ohio. The weekend at Mid-Ohio didn't start out perfect, as a practice altercation with Fabrizio Barbazza resulted in the team changing to a backup car. Very quickly, they brought the car up to speed and incredibly would win the pole for the race. Outside of some scary moments in traffic, fending off second-place runner Al Unser Jr., Teo would lead 71 of the 84 laps, securing the first and only win for Porsche, his 5th and final IndyCar win. Teo would capture another podium at Road America, and they would go on to finish 4th in the 1989 standings. Unfortunately, 1990 didn't go as planned, as Porsche would start the season with the March 89P as their 1990 chassis wasn't ready in time for the first 2 races. The program would also boost their effort to 2 cars at the beginning of 1990, adding John Andretti to the team. However, 3 races into the season, the March 90P would not be the program's saving grace, as they failed to capture the success they had in 89. With their best result being a single 3rd-place finish by Teo Fabi at the Meadowlands Grand Prix. Porsche swiftly exited IndyCar at the end of the 1990 season, and despite rumors over the years, hasn't returned since. But through its 40-year-plus history, Mid-Ohio will always be remembered as the place where Porsche finally earned its place in IndyCar history with their first and only race win.
So what's interesting about the Porsche IndyCar program are a couple of things about that win. This was the last race, or in 1989 was the last race they ran the chicane before the keyhole. The next year they lengthened that straightaway and created the passing zone that you see there today. The Porsche program actually ended up turning into Derek Walker Motorsports for 1991, which created the opportunity for Willie T. Ribbs, and of course eventually became a powerhouse team in IndyCar racing, although never achieved a championship, but probably their biggest win was the 1992 Michigan 500 with Scott Goodyear. So let's talk a little bit about the race. So the Reds, I mentioned them. There's 3 drivers towards the front half of the field that have an opportunity on the sticker Reds, or have an extra set of sticker Reds, those being Kyffin Simpson, Nolan Siegel, and Kyle Kirkwood. Of course, we know how Kyle Kirkwood is able to win races. He's done it several times this season. The question mark, of course, are Kyffin Simpson and Nolan Siegel. They've got a good qualifying effort. They have fast cars. They've got a tire advantage. So if it's a 3-stop race, and I certainly hope it would be a 3-stop race if you've got a sticker set of Reds in the bank for those drivers, it's definitely going to be confidence instilling for a guy like Kyffin Simpson, who's been steadily moving towards the front in the Indy cars, but hasn't quite gotten there where he's challenging for race victories. Is it going to be a 2 or a 3-stop race? That remains to be seen. I wonder, with Alex Palou starting at the front, if he can't get to turn 1 and control the race, does it become a 2-stop race for him, or does he try to make it a 2-stop race, and do we have the 2-stop versus the 3-stop? That would be my guess right now. But Kyle Kirkwood is the one I would say I would really be looking at, simply because I don't trust Kyffin or Nolan are going to be able to win the race. I think Kyffin could definitely finish in the top 5, maybe even a podium finish. A win, that's going to be really, really tough. But it would be fun if it happened. I mentioned the 90-lap distance. Of course, that's going to be the battle of the strategies. Do you want to go a 3-stop, run really hard, or do you want to conserve a little bit and do a 2-stop? I think some of the guys who are feeling a little more confident in themselves, you're going to see them try a 2-stop. I mean, it just makes too much sense for Alex Palou, especially since he doesn't have a sticker set of Reds in the bank. Just makes sense that you would try. I do think it's going to be a red race, though. The drivers have been all talking about the gap between the blacks and the Reds, and especially the gap between, Lundgaard mentioned the gap between scuffed Reds and new Reds. So that's a pretty big advantage to have that. Team Penske, they announced yesterday that they've elected a new president for their operation, Jonathan Duguid, who comes over from the sports car side. But it's obvious right now Team Penske's in a lot of trouble. They are just not there right now, not anywhere close. And I think as we get into the ovals, you're going to see a little bit more of that because they've been so dominant on the ovals. But here, looking at qualifying, it's just been a disaster for Team Penske, just a disaster. And I think that's a huge part of them firing most of their upper leadership. And it's going to take a little while to build the culture back there at Team Penske. And speaking of culture, we got to talk about Josef Newgarden. He talked to us yesterday. So it's not that he's not talking to the media, but obviously he declined to talk to the media, and he continues to decline to talk to the media when things go poorly. And I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I've said this before, but Josef and the other 26 drivers out there don't owe me a damn thing. I feel privileged that they talk to me. But on the other side of that, ultimately, him talking to the media and giving his side of the story, that's him defending himself. And if he doesn't want to defend himself, that's his right, which I understand. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand, and it's okay. It's okay that Josef doesn't want to talk. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't Josef, would we give a damn about who qualified 18th for this race? No. So I think Josef looks at that, probably rightly so, that they're looking for drama, which they probably are. We like drama. It helps us. But if Josef doesn't want to talk drama, he shouldn't have to talk drama. In terms of the bow ties, I mean, we know this. Honda's won every race this year, and we're relying essentially on McLaren to break that streak with Nolan Siegel and Christian Lundgaard at the front of the field. McLaren's strategy typically hasn't been that great, and this is going to be a pretty hard strategy race. So I don't know. I mean, Pato won this race last year, and Pato told us in the bullpen yesterday that the McLaren doesn't really work very well on the primary tires. So if this is going to be a red race like we expect it to be, okay, we've got some opportunities. But I don't know. I really think it's going to be a car with an H on it in victory lane tomorrow. And honestly, it might be a battle of the 2-stop with Palou and the 3-stop with Kirkwood. And doesn't that sound familiar? But I'm happy to be proven wrong, and maybe tomorrow we'll be celebrating Nolan Siegel's first IndyCar win. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and we will see you for our full recap of Mid-Ohio tomorrow.